Hey, is that? I keep wanting to say My Little Kitty, but I don't think that's right. It's Hello Kitty, right?
Yes, it's Hello Kitty.
What does that have to do with the theme?
Well,
Or were you planning on wearing a different shirt?
no, one of the few things that you don't know about me, probably, is I am a big Hello Kitty fan.
Oh,
Yeah,
I might have known that.
yeah.
Oh,
She's,
nice.
she's over here. Yeah, sitting on the videos, but because my featherless slouch hat was in the cleaners and my blunderbuss is being repaired. I didn't really have a costume.
You
And
better
then I
get that
remember,
blunderbuss repaired quick.
I know, man. It's like nothing's gonna scare off an intruder than a trumpet that explodes in their face. I'm Paul,
I'm Steve.
and this is Check Your Shelf. Well, here it is. We're at Cimmerian September, and usually the first video we do every month is the reading report for what we read the previous month. But we'll put that off for a couple weeks yet. Maybe we'll do a 2-month reading report. But I thought we could get a jump on Cimmerian September, and we're not going to do a ton because we have a hard time sticking to events. And like I said in a previous video when we did our horror mayhem, that was a lot of work. So this is going to be more casual. But I thought, my favorite Robert E. Howard character, which, for those of you who don't know, Cimmerian September is an event created by Michael K. Vaughan where we celebrate the works of Robert E. Howard in one form or another.
The great Michael K. Vaughan. You have to say it right.
Yes, this is true. The gold standard of BookTube, Michael K. Vaughan.
Somehow, he became the gold standard of BookTube. The somehow is he's great at it. So, other than that,
is. Yeah, he is good. Anyway, so I wanted to do some this month. This Cimmerian September, it was whatever you wanted. Like, explore whatever Robert E. Howard you wanted. Well, I've read so much of it, but Steve hasn't. So I'm slowly introducing him to some Robert E. Howard stuff. So this seemed like a good month to do it. We did Pigeons from Hell a couple weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. So anyway, this month I decided that I was going to introduce Steve to Solomon Kane. And the two stories that I wanted to focus on are two of my favorites, one of which is widely considered the greatest Solomon Kane story. Spoilers, that's not this episode. However, this is my favorite next to The Right Hand of Doom. This is my favorite longer form Solomon Kane story. And so we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna talk about some other stuff.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk about a boogie book, and I'm gonna play one.
you just worried me for a second because you said my favorite one, spoiler alert, we're not doing it today, is Right Hand of Doom. And then when I said, wait, what's your favorite one? You go, Hills of the Dead. I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah. I tell you, this story, I liked it. It was a good story. For my first Solomon Kane story, for those of you who don't know, which is a weird thing to say because every single person on the planet seems to have known who Solomon Kane is. So in the off chance that one other person who didn't know who it turns out it was a 2009 film. I watched a little bit of it last night. It was funny, but
it's not bad.
Not that.
It's not Solomon Kane, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like make your own movie.
Yeah.
So this is I love the structure. Okay, so I'll just say this: Robert E. Howard can write.
Yeah.
The man can write. All right. It's straightforward. It's no frills. It's use the words that he's no Lovecraft, right? He uses the words that we all know and understand to get his point across.
Yeah. As I've said, these writers paint to get on that. They write to get on that cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and it has Solomon Kane meeting with a a medicine man, a witch doctor,
We'll just call him a
spiritual
priest.
person, a priest
Yes.
of the local religion. He's in Africa.
Mhm.
His name's Nlanga. Am I saying
Yeah.
that right?
Well, I've listened to various audio versions of it. Some people pronounce the end. Some people just say longa. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And it's interesting because it's clear, like he sets up the action from the very beginning,
Yeah.
which I would imagine in a pulp. I'm not a pulp aficionado like everybody who watches this channel, but I can tell, and I'm kind of familiar enough to know the action has to be set up in advance. You got to know what you're in for because you really are signing up for this. And you're making that agreement with the author. What is this going to be? And it better be pulp. So he's there. There's magic. It's Africa, so he's on the edge of the jungle, and the jungle calls. It's sort of like Dogs of War, right? The jungle calls. Once the jungle gets a hold of you,
yeah,
that's where you want to be, right?
yeah.
And he's got that. The jungle's calling him, not in a supernatural way, but in a human way. There's something about the jungle. I have to get in that jungle and experience and have adventures. And Nlanga's right, like, yeah, but you're gonna need help. And so he gives him this magic cane. Take this magic cane with you, right? And he's not in there for too long before something happens. Right?
I mean, page count wise, no. But he's been walking for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Again, skip the part nobody wants to read.
Yeah, exactly. So some young girl, some topless young girl wearing a skirt comes running out of the bush like, lion. Apparently lions just wander around in the jungle. I didn't really know that.
That's it, man. My girlfriend's daughter went to Africa a couple of years ago, and not one lion came running up at him. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, maybe they got overhunted.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah. So she's afraid of the lion. Did he kill the lion? No, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, no, he blasts it with his gigantic rifle,
which isn't a rifle
because there's no rifling.
His trumpet his musket. They call it a musket throughout the
musket.
thing. Right. Howard uses a lot of devices to create great tension and get you to like the character. Like, first of all, you've got this relationship between the white man and African, black Africans,
mm-hmm.
which gives you, some sense of he's there to help. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he does is kill this lion to help the scared running girl, right?
I mean, to be fair, it might be helping himself too. But yeah.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't want to get killed by a lion, right? But I think it's set up as he's the hero. He's, mm-hmm. We're supposed to identify, and especially young male readers reading this stuff are like, yeah, I want to go on an adventure and save beautiful young women from things, So that's relatable. The Christian devotion, I think, gives you this piety and purity, and he's called the Puritan,
Yeah.
which makes me think he's probably got one of those funny hats with the buckle on the front.
Yeah.
I wonder if his shoes have buckles on them.
Well, some of the paintings and illustrations they do. So
these are my bush boots with buckles on them. It's the dark continent, right? Africa. It's scary, and there's lions and stuff, and a few other things. But so then the next thing is what I really love is they have these. She knows about them, but they're these undead in the hills.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, we have those. We have those back in Europe. They're called vampires."
They're called vampires.
Suddenly, I'm picturing these things in the hill with their big capes. I want to suck your soul. Instead of sucking your blood, they suck your soul, but they also suck your blood, it turns out. I'm assuming most of our viewers know the story. So, spoiler alert, okay?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like this is why I liked it. Like we're gonna get to that next, but I don't want to give the impression I didn't like this story. It has lots of great stuff to it. It could be a novel.
Yeah.
I get he wanted to write a short story, but it could be a novel easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
At one point, they go up into the hills, and she already knows it's going to be a problem, but he gets to find out there's zombie in them there hills. He calls them vampires. I'm still not 100%. I think I know the difference between zombies and vampires, and I would say these are probably vampires because they have their own city.
Yes.
I don't think zombies are going to settle down and,
I mean,
lead a middle-class life.
There's all kinds of zombies and there's all kinds of vampires. These are vampires.
Yeah. He talks about, he uses the word mummy a few times, which I thought was interesting because we've talked about that. Is a mummy a zombie, vampire, or is it its own thing?
And let us know down below what you
Let us
think.
know down below. We have a viewer who is into mummies, so
Yes.
they know more about mummies than I've forgotten, and I've forgotten a lot about mummies. What was I saying? Oh, so they run into these vampire things and she's like, oh yeah, they have a city and they're always killing my people, and he did everything but go, why didn't you tell me? Well, I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
But so he scares them off with fire. He burns one. He stabs one with the magic cane. It dies. It turns to ash. And then he goes to sleep, and Longa talks to him in his dream. And he's like, hey, you should have listened to her. You messed up. But now's our chance. Go get her boyfriend from the village.
Yeah.
He's like, why? Just do it. I'm the smart guy here.
Yeah.
I'm your.
Don't ask the tour guide why.
I'm like the caddy in The Legend of Bagger Vance. You listen to me if you want to win. All right. So he's like, okay, fine. He goes and gets the dude. He's like, okay, lay down, go to sleep. So dude is all but dead, right?
Yeah.
And becomes this Inlonga dude.
Yeah.
So Inlonga possesses this kid's body, basically.
Basically astral projects
Yeah.
from wherever he was to the other guy's body.
Right down to having the same kind of eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was awesome. I was like, that's pretty cool. I'd love to be able to do that. It's science fiction-y right there. So then Inlonga hatches this plan. Why he didn't just tell Solomon Kane what his plan was, I do not know. Maybe Solomon Kane would have been like, I'm not going to be the bait. You be the bait. Why do I have to be the bait?
I think Longa likes to mess with him because he doesn't tell him about his staff or walking cane or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
All he gives him is the gist that it's really old.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell him the whole story. Now this thing has a history that if Solomon Kane, who thinks everything that isn't God is the devil.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he does.
So I think Inlonga's messing with him because the history of that cane is tied into some biblical history. But he's like, nah, I'm not going to tell him that part.
You know what? I'm with you on that because he also, whenever Inlonga is talking to him as himself, he's got this like jargon that he uses, this like what Solomon Kane probably pictures as the local jargon, and he just talks in that. But he doesn't have to. He just does it like because I think he's messing with him. I think you're right.
I think Howard really liked that character.
Yeah,
he appears in a couple of Solomon Kane stories.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, they hatched some kind of plan where the Solomon Kane's fighting these hundreds of vampires.
Yes.
And that's where we find out they like to suck blood because they're sucking on his blood. They're scratching him up and suck.
If you haven't read it, if you haven't read the story, but you've seen Zombieland, just picture Woody Harrelson in that cage. That's Solomon Kane at this point.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best. That's the best analogy I think I've ever heard.
This is the Del Rey Books version that came out like in 2004, 2005. It's illustrated. It's all the Solomon Kane stories. But just to give you an example of what Kane was going through, See if I can zoom in on it here. He's just
Yeah.
he's just up to his armpits in vampires.
Clubbing him with his musket.
Yep.
Apparently that happened a lot in battles. Like the soldiers would have their muskets and like they'd charge bayonets, but then they would just start whacking each other with the butt of their musket.
Well, that's why they got those brass butts on them, man. They're not. It's not meant for decoration.
Brass butts. That funky butt. So then at some point, Longa just kind of goes, like, he goes into a trance, and all these vultures just come flying. They darken the sky, which reminded me of like the Persians shooting their arrows and blotting out the sky at Thermopylae, you know?
Yes.
And
right in the shade.
I used to think when I'd read something like that when I was much younger, I would think that was symbolism, like it darkened the sky. And I would think, oh, that's great symbolism. Must have been a lot of them. It's like, no, they were not using symbolism. They mean it got dark.
Yeah. And this is one of those great stories for me. The thing that I love about a story, whether it's a movie or a book or a short story or whatever, is if nothing's wasted. If everything is Chekhov's everything, because he notices early on the vultures and how the further inland he gets, the more of them they are and the more sparse everything else gets, you know? And it's just, it's great foreshadow, you know?
I love that. I love that phrase. Everything is Chekhov's everything.
Yes.
Paul's philosophy of short stories. Everything is Chekhov's everything.
Yeah, there you go. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, but you know, the vultures, they can annoy the vampires, but they can't wipe them out.
Yeah.
So Longa enacts the next part of his plan. The vampires run into their city, and then Longa just burns it down.
That's another foreshadow, because Kane, when he's making the fire in the cave, notices just how dry everything is.
Oh, that's right.
Drought.
He talks about the dry grass.
That city's gonna burn. It just needs a match.
Chekhov's dried brush.
Yes.
The denouement is like, to your point, Solomon Kane's like anything that's not of God that seems magical is of the devil.
Yes.
He's like, listen, I've been doing this a long time. I couldn't explain it to you any more than, you know, you could explain. He had something, I forgot what it was.
Yeah, you're talking about Nlonga, his speech to Kane, yes.
Yes. He's like, I've been around forever.
Yeah.
And I've learned to do these things from the old ones. And I'm one of the old ones now.
Yes.
He's like, I've been doing this a long time. Do you think I could just explain it to you? It'd be like walking up to a suspension bridge and there's an engineer standing there and going, huh, how'd you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Engineering.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying it's not dark magic. It's not evil. It's not of the devil. It's just a thing I've learned to do from others and over a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we talked about this a while ago about how short stories aren't big on character development.
Yeah.
What they're big on is what do you think the consequences afterwards are. And this is a character defining, a possible character building moment for Kane.
Yes.
Because he can walk away from this adventure as he typically does. He walks into danger and walks out of danger.
Mm-hmm.
He could walk away from this, taking that with him and pondering it. So we'll have to see if he does. I'm not going to spoil it.
Oh. Makes me want to read all of the stories in order.
I mean, and they are more or less, at least in this version, because I don't know if they were all published, like Hamill said, consequently, you know, chronologically. But in this, I feel like it's arranged as such.
Just to say a word about the digital version, I believe a lot of our viewers, and I'm included in that, love the feel of a book, physical book. Mm-hmm. And going, oh, this pulp stuff. It's called pulp for a reason. And it ain't because it was meant to be on a digital reader, right? I get a lot more reading done if I can do it on a digital reader or if I can listen to it. And now when I go to the bookstore, it's how I got my volume of Algernon Blackwood stuff, you know? It's because I had read a few things, I liked it, and now I'm at the store, I'm like, oh, I got a thing I can look for. Next time I'm at the store, I'm like, yeah, I can go look for some Robert E. Howard like my friend Paul does every single time he goes.
Yeah, like I had contemplated just, you know, getting a copy of this and sending it to you. But then I'm like, but what if he doesn't like it? You know? This way, you like you said, it's I do the same thing. I'll read stuff in either whether it's online or in a short story collection or whatever before or a library book. If I like it, it becomes part of my collection.
There you go. That having been said, reading this, there's a thing that kind of takes me out when I'm reading old fiction, right? Yeah. And it is the product of its time stuff. And I know why everything was Chekhov's everything. Nothing was gratuitous, right? But he starts out with, it's clearly, this is the dark continent, okay? And it's the dark continent. Hey man, it's dark to Europeans because Europeans didn't know the continent. I guarantee you it was not the dark continent to the people who lived there, right? They knew it. They knew this continent. They may not have known the whole thing. Africa's big. Africa's not just this little thing, right? It'd be like saying, well, are you saying that French people know about Kazakhstan? Well, no, not you know. So there's that. So that's kind of a trope. Then there's the trope of, I mentioned the Legend of Bagger Vance. There is this whole trope of this magical black sidekick, right? So that plays into it. And then there's, when it really hit me, like some of that stuff's like, okay, well, I didn't know about the magical black sidekick trope until, 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. And this was written a long time ago. When was this written? I forget.
Published, I think, in 1930. Quick question though about your sidekick theory, which I agree, it's an overused trope.
Oh, and it's not my theory; it's something I read about.
I know, but
I didn't come up with
it. My question is, who's the sidekick in this story?
Yeah, I know. It's like the Who Rescued Who bumper sticker, right?
Yeah,
who's sidekicking who?
But please continue.
This is where it really tipped me off that he was a product of his time, right? It was like, he's like, and then this light brown skinned girl comes running, and of course she's topless, right? Because everybody
in
Africa,
shorts in Africa in 1930.
Exactly, right? And she comes running out and she's brown skinned, but not as dark skinned as some of the ones on the coast, She was of higher breed because her lips were more narrow. And she was lighter skinned, and I'm just going, oh Lord.
Yeah. After you brought that up the other day, I went ahead and put on one of the audio versions that I have, and I'm like, damn, there's a lot of this in there. I get overwhelmed, or my brain instantly goes to that finale with this story, which is why this is one of my absolute favorite Howard stories. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to that stuff, but yeah, that was the first time I really paid attention to it, and this one it's loaded with it, kids.
It is, and so they do the thick lip thing, and then when he talks about what they do in this area is they trade in crops and slaves. So he had to point out that they trade in slaves, right? Which was true, and he pointed it out, and but in a different sort of way. This isn't a history episode. We could get into the history, but he pointed that out. And then when they meet the vampires, what kind of black people are they? They're tall, muscular, thick-lipped, dark-skinned black people, right?
These are his words. We're not just saying that. These are his words.
Now, I know why he did it. First of all, it's 1930, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying whether he had prejudices or whatever. What I'm saying is, if you're wanting to build tension and you're wanting the reader, which again in 1930s was probably white European or American kids, right?
Like 15-year-old white boys.
If you watch any cartoon about Africa from back then, you know what they thought of Africans, right? You know what they were taught about Africans.
Well, it's like in the Tarzan movie when the caravan or whatever, the explorers are moving across this cliff face, and a couple of the people that are carrying their stuff slip and fall over the edge, and they're like, "Did we lose anybody?" And one of them's like, "Just a couple porters." Oh, okay. Well, what equipment did we lose? Is what So yeah, we all know what they thought of back then,
and even more importantly, what they were taught.
In
the schools, right? Yeah. And so he's using those things to bring the reader along and build the tension, right? We're talking about a scary area. These are people we don't know anything about. Mm-hmm. We know the further into the jungle we get, the more likely we are to run into the scary kind of people. Mm-hmm. And we can tell the good from the bad by the color of their skin, right? So it wasn't gratuitous. It wasn't Robert E. Howard trying to perpetuate a stereotype. He was just using the lumber around. He was like one of those wilderness people that go into Alaska and build a cabin. Well, you got to use the trees that are around, right? Mm-hmm, You're like, that's an endangered species of tree. And it's like, well, I'm going to die if I don't use this tree, right? So he was using the material he had, the raw materials he had on hand, right? Which part of that were these tropes and stereotypes. So it's not gratuitous. I'm sitting here in 2025. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me not to get taken out by these things, right? Yeah. Not to go, wait a minute. Yeah. But I'm also able to sort of separate it and go, yes, but he was a masterful writer also,
Yeah. I think the bulk of our readers know this, and it reminds me of like my local used bookstore here in town. We were looking. He had a whole slew of Doc Savage novels and a bunch of like Mac Volans and stuff. But he also has everything else, right? And I was explaining to him about. I pulled out some of the Doc Savage novels, and I showed him like this one. Like, okay, this one plays into what they unfortunately referred to as the Yellow Peril, which was another one of the others, the white guy and the other. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I didn't know that. I said, yeah, it's kind of like you got to be careful who you're selling this stuff to. And he goes, I figure if you can make it through that door with my big LGBTQ flag and my Black Lives Matter banner and my gay literature, and you make it past my front door, I don't think I have a problem selling it to you. I think you know what it is. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how I look at our viewers.
Oh, that's nice. We love our viewers.
Yeah.
I never really have liked the product of their time comment because, or I don't mean comment. I mean, like using it as an excuse.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I guarantee you there were people in 1930 that knew Africa wasn't like that.
Personally, I chalk a lot of it up to trying to make a living and not knowing any better.
It's like I said, you use the raw material that you have available. Yeah. And when you're trying to sell to 12, 13-year-old white kids, here's the raw material you have available, right?
Right. Okay. Here's my question then for our viewers. As you know, Steve, but the rest of the world don't, I've been trying to write a Western short story. I'm trying to write this story without engaging in like the stereotypes and things like that. Kind of like how I would really like to rewrite. I would really like to do a treatment of the Six-Gun Gorilla, but there's some aspects of it you have to deal with.
For example, the AI cover.
The AI cover is total garbage. Again, I found that before I knew what AI even was. I've had
do
this
your
like
best
almost 10 years.
until you know better,
Right.
and then you do better.
So when I write my own copy, it'll have my cover on it, and I'll show it off. Anyway, so I'm writing this Western, and there's all kinds. I'm running into like problems with, well, what do I do in this case? Well, I can't do that. What do I do in this case? I can't do that. So my question is it possible, and maybe Tim from Secret Fire can answer this because he has written a book of short stories that are kind of in the vein that I think, I would like. Is it possible to write a pulp type story? Which to me, pulp basically means like high adventure. Is it possible to write a pulp story today in 2025 without engaging in all the stuff that we look at now and go, well, they were a product of their time? If there is, if you've got one, let us know down below. I don't care if it's Westerns. I don't care what it is. Just let us know if it's possible, and give us maybe give us an example.
I don't have any examples, but my answer is absolutely.
I'm sure it is. I mean, I'm getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. So to rephrase Paul's question, does anyone have any advice on how to write a woke Western?
All right. So the next one that I'm hoping we can get to probably by next week is Wings in the Night, which that's the one that is widely regarded as being the best Solomon Kane story ever written.
Nice.
It's good. I still like this one better, but that's okay.
Wait a minute. I have a question for you.
What's your question?
Out of 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, what do you give this story?
Well, now I gotta think about it again. No, it's a 4. It's a solid 4.
All right. For the story, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I was going to give it a 2 because it took me out in the middle of it, and then the action started up again, and I was like, oh, I was watching this. All right.
Yeah. If you wanna see how to write action, this story shows you how to write action.
Yes, it does.
All right. Having said that, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your shelf.
Did you shoot it with your big trumpet?
Shooting my trumpet gun. A trumpet bus. You know what's funny? Like I had this thing all like, I'm going to make sure we start recording because I'm going to say this thing that'll be one of those great little things that Paul puts at the end. You cannot force this stuff. No. You just can't.
No.
I was going to say like I haven't been feeling well, so and I'm okay. I just a little scratchy throat. So I did a cough drop. And you know what you can't do and what you shouldn't do is you should not drink ice water while you have a menthol cough drop in your mouth.
No, not the best medical advice. Sort of like not the medical advice from my dad was. My dad smoked Camels when he was younger, unless he was sick, and then he smoked Cools because the menthol.
The menthol helps clear out your.
Not good medical advice.